Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to yet another episode of Career Talks by Vision CA. My name is Adwait Pisharody, and today, as our guest on the podcast, we have CA Divya Singhal. Divya is a chartered accountant who qualified CA in November 2017. She began her career as an audit assistant in Ernst& Young during her articleship. Post qualification, she was an equity research associate at a Mumbai top broking house. And post that, she began starting her own venture. Since the age of 14, Divya has been extremely inquisitive and extremely into volunteer work. And to bring about that side of humanity into action, she, along with her colleague, a fellow CA herself, started an organization called ShareALittle. Incidentally, very recently, she also received an Indian Achievers Award for the promising startup for her startup only within 9 months post starting this venture. Apart from her professional background, she is also a fitness enthusiast who loves to run and research on fitness. So, Divya, welcome to the podcast and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. I'm so happy to be here. So,
Awesome.
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Our pleasure to have you here. So, Divya, to start off, let's talk about your formative years, your school, college, and what made you decide to do CA as a professional course?
That's actually a very boring answer. I come from a very chartered accountant's background. So ever since I was in class 5 or 6, and since I was 10, I knew that I'm going to become a chartered accountant. Like I would go in school, I would go sit in like a senior classroom, like a 9th and 10th, 11th and 12th classroom, and look at the accounts book when, the class had gone for some lab period or whatever. And I would look at the accounts book and I would tell my friend, I'm going to study this in a few years. Like I was that kind of a girl. So for me, since a very young age, I knew that the day I cleared CA final would be like a life milestone for me. So I was very, very sure about what I wanted to do. So, taking up CA from, right after school was a no-brainer. So that's how CA happened. And there were no two ways about it.
It's absolutely wonderful, just having that clarity of thought at such a young age. And I'm sure, once you cleared your exam, that day would have been memorable. Absolutely memorable.
Yeah, nobody forgets the day they clear the CA finals. So.
That's very true. That was, speaking from a very personal experience also, even that was one of the happiest days of my life as well. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
No two ways about it. So, yeah, I think post your articleship, you also pursued your post your inter CA. I'm so sorry. You pursued an articleship with Ernst & Young in the statutory audit department. So how was that experience like over the 3 years?
So I was very excited to start working because I want to understand practically how it's done. This is the first time I was going to go into the corporate world and actually apply my knowledge. So, my first audit, I was put on an audit of a pharma company and I had to do vouching. And, I was just so excited to do vouching. Like I was that girl. But eventually it got boring and I learned a lot of things. We actually worked on a lot of clients. I worked on Coca-Cola, for example, went on a lot of actual physical checks and, got a lot of respect from those people at the plant. So those things are very, very exciting. And it really taught me. And I also got to work with the US, the overseas team of EY. So I got to experience a lot of things in, over those 3 years of articleship. And for that, I'm really grateful. So it really taught me how the financial statements are actually prepared right from scratch, like the audit, the data dump that the client gives us, from that you do all the checks and then you actually get to the partner to sign that report. That whole tiring process, I've been through it and there was a lot of learning involved, but it was a very, very amazing experience, I would say, very good to start with for me.
Right. So, absolutely.
So,
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, when you were speaking about all this experience in my mind, I'm going absolutely relate with this. I mean, considering even I had a Big Four stat audit experience in my articles,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, that lesson that definitely worth remembering for sure. I think post your qualification, then you joined in a broking house as an equity research associate. So how was those and worked there for around 2.5 years, if I'm not wrong. So how was that experience like, when start going from an article assistant to now an actually a
Yeah.
CA and then from moving from stat audit to a research oriented role? How was that experience like?
So it was a very, very conscious decision that I wanted to move into the research space. Um, I was always interested in the stock market. My father's been investing, so I have literally grown up watching the anchors since I was very young. So it was a dream of mine to pursue a career in this space. And it was very interesting because I learned, looking at the financial statements as to how they are made. And then that actually became the starting point for us in equity research because you're looking at the audit financial statements and analyzing them. So it was like a forward integration sort of a thing for me. So it was a very, very interesting journey. I would, get really excited about, oh, this has been audited by EY or something like that. But it really taught me, it really sharpened my analytical skills, how to look at a company from investing perspective. I think that's a life skill. How to, be a good investor. So I was very happy getting the skills that I was getting. And there was just no dull moment in equity research. I would say that the markets are always buzzing, something or the other is always happening. So it was very exciting. At the same time, it would get really overwhelming at times. But the learning curve was very steep, and it was another very exciting part of my professional journey.
That's great to hear. I mean, yeah, which leads me to the next question. What prompted you to then quit your job as an equity research associate and then start your venture, ShareALittle?
It's a very interesting answer. I have always loved volunteering with organizations, and I always did that along with my professional journey. And in the lockdown, I just read an article on, giving back, and I got so enthusiastic or inspired by that article that I immediately wrote to that author. And I said, I want to volunteer with this organization. And that organization is Indus Action. They work in the education space. It's a Delhi-based NGO. And they put me on a project, within a week. I had to call up people, parents of children who had gotten admission in Delhi private schools under the EWS quota, which is the economic weaker section. There's a 25% quota for such children. So to call them and ask them if they are able to study, if they're able to continue their schools from home. And this was a survey being done along with the Delhi government.
Right.
And when I made those calls, I got to listen to the first-hand account of hardship, of what children were facing, what parents were facing. And, I could not even imagine that, that kind of misery. I mean, you could just imagine it, I would say. Like, actually having to hear it from someone really changed my perspective about life. And I said, if educated people like us, if we don't come forward and help, then, I don't know who's going to come forward. If I'm the one who's going to be so immersed in my own job, making money, things like that. Like, I was just like, I want to do something to help them. And I thought I can do more than just record their grievances, their problems, etc. So we thought, my friend and I, we thought we could channel donations to these people so that, they can study from home, because some of them didn't have smartphones, they didn't have TV at home. And I don't know, it was just a very sad, very tragic stories I heard. And it really moved me. And I thought I cannot start my own NGO, but I do know people who want to give, and I do know people who want help. So I can just channel that help. to the right people. And that's how ShareALittle came about to be. I never thought I would do it full time. I thought that let me set it up. After that, I'll have to take up a job because, setting up a business along with an equity research kind of a job was not possible. So to do full justice to the business, I, decided to take a gap. And I thought once I've set it up, I can get another job, obviously. But, when it was time to get back into the job market, I couldn't do it. I was just I'm having way too much fun. It was so rewarding to do what I was doing that I did not. Here I was hiring people, for my startup, and here I'm getting calls, do you want to do this? And I'm just I'd pass. So that's how it came out to be, and that's how I became a full-time entrepreneur. Right. But it's basically a figuring it out as you go. There's no knowing, but I'm very happy where I am today in my professional journey, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
That's absolutely wonderful. I mean, how things just fall into place one by one, and it becomes an entire.
It was magical.
It's absolutely great. And I found another segue into my next question. So, I read about the startup when I decided to call you on this podcast, but I think I would like to, give you this opportunity to obviously talk about the main objective behind starting this podcast and what do you intend to achieve with it?
Why I started was because I wanted to do something more meaningful with my life. And it was definitely not something I planned to do full time. I would just be honest. But it just sort of happened. And my friend and I both were equally enthusiastic about it. And we had such grand plans for ShareALittle. And we had world domination plans with it. And so, the excitement is still as fresh as it was when we first started. So, it just grows and grows, your ambitions. It doesn't go down. And sorry, what's the second part of the question?
Second part was, what is the main objective behind starting it?
Okay, so about ShareALittle, I would just like to tell, the viewers for more context. ShareALittle is a crowdfunding platform. We basically help NGOs run fundraisers and overcome their funding shortfalls for projects. So we try to get funding from them from individual donors. That's what's called crowdfunding. And we basically market fundraisers for the NGOs. And whoever's interested is free to donate whatever amount, as per their liking, as per their, capacity, they can donate and help those fundraisers. And then as a platform, we come back and give you a full report about how the funds were used and what impact you've made. So that's the value add that ShareALittle does. We actually take full onus of the fundraiser that we run, right from the NGO that we want to partner with, the causes that we want to support, how the messaging is going to be, how we're going to market it to different people. We take complete charge of that as a platform, unlike, other crowdfunding platforms. So there's a lot of individual customization of the founders. We do it with our full heart. Basically, it's not just something that we want to do because, as a commercial thing. No, it's a social venture. And we basically want to help out as many people as possible with our little endeavor. So that's ShareALittle. As the name suggests, it's basically for people to share whatever bit they want to. And the goal is to, make donation a more recurring activity. We don't want people to just donate every once in a while on birthdays, anniversaries, etc. We try to make the platform very transparent and easy. So we have a 3-click process for them to make any donation. So that will sort of drive them to ShareALittle more often. That was the thought behind it. And where do we want to go? We want to become the biggest crowdfunding platform.
That can definitely happen. Definitely. This is such a noble thought and such a unique idea in terms of the execution. You can definitely reach that. And That will definitely
Thank
happen.
you so much.
I'm so confident
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, and I think, when I saw the name, I just decided to research a bit upon it, explore your website and stuff. And I saw some of the, causes that you had worked on. So, I mean, could you expand on some of the causes that your organization has supported, and what is the impact that you have been able to create?
Yeah. So we started in November 2020 when the pandemic had happened, and it was largely to help students get digital kits. Our first fundraiser, it was a blanket fundraiser with two fundraisers, with two NGOs under it. We called it the DigiKit campaign. So we basically want to raise funds to help children learn from home. Children who are from underprivileged backgrounds, obviously, who cannot afford, they don't have digital tablets. So our first fundraiser was with a school in Bombay. They help hearing impaired children, and they teach them how to, and it's a very early intervention, because if those children at that young age don't learn to read, write, they will never be able to pick it up. And that was such a moving cause, for us. Just because of the pandemic, it was so unfortunate that they didn't have, we want to basically improve their access to learning. So we raised 1,50,000 for them, and we were able to buy 15 tablets for those children so they're able to study from home.
So our second fundraiser was with Bahani Scholarship Trust. They basically fund the tuition fee and ancillary fee of 30 students in a year for higher education. And, it was sort of an unforeseen circumstance for them to get, because they were studying from home, they wanted to get smartphones for them so they could study. And it was a 40-day campaign. We were able to raise another 150,000 for them and buy 20 smartphones. And it was so endearing to hear their response. They said that now my siblings can also stay connected and can study with me. I can solve my doubts by watching, videos. So they sort of felt like they've sort of come at par with their classmates. And, especially nowadays, phones are not a luxury anymore. They've become such an integral part of daily communication. Teachers, students, they all converse over WhatsApp. And, something like sharing meals, presentation over meals, that's become so basic. So we were so happy that we could improve learning outcomes for them. The third fundraiser was because of COVID-19. There was an organization called Every Infant Matters. They were distributing healthy, nutritious meals to overcome malnutrition and starvation for people in Delhi slums. So we were able to raise 130,000 for them. And, 2,500 meals could be distributed for 6 daily meals. 2,500 daily meals over 6 months could be distributed with that much money. Wow. So that was part of the COVID-19. So far, we have got 87 plus donors. We've raised about 5 lakh in funding. And we've helped, impacted 3,000 lives at least. So that's what we've achieved the last 9 months. And we have a lot more causes so we have another fundraiser going on right now, but I will come to that later. But all our fundraisers, the causes are to do with long-term impact in their lives, so that it's something that, helps them for a longer period of time. It's like teaching someone how to fish rather than giving them the fish. That's the idea behind ShareALittle. So we want to empower the beneficiary in one way or the other. So that's the cause we've taken up. And it's largely to do with education right now, but we're going to expand slowly to malnutrition, vocational training, and, empowering parents so that they can improve learning outcomes for children. So there's a lot coming up. I'm very excited, but more on that later.
Definitely. I mean, the causes are something very, very noble. And I mean, it is great to hear the kind of impact that you have already created. And I mean, no wonder you received that award. I mean, over the period of 9 months, and it has been absolutely wonderful. I mean, now that, you have fully transitioned, it's been 9 months, and now you can call yourself a full-time social entrepreneur. I mean, what has been the best aspects of being an entrepreneur, and also what has been the overall challenges because in your journey so far?
Okay, so I would say that I really like the flexibility that comes with being an entrepreneur. I get to decide my hours, if I want to work on a Sunday other than a Friday. Like, I have that flexibility, I have that leeway. But having said that, there's a lot of discipline required to be an entrepreneur. People often ignore or overlook this aspect of being an entrepreneur, that they think, okay, I will just chill, the hours are mine, blah, blah, blah. But there's a whole lot of discipline attached to it. You're your own boss. You have to decide how you're going to steer the company. You have to stay true to yourself, to your, why you started it. And you have to have an insane amount of drive to do this. And it's a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And it's a very lonely journey because there are no colleagues. And definitely having mentors really help, because who's going to lead you in the right direction? And there's no one goal to work towards, like unlike a job where you're just in a box, you're just like given instructions. Okay, you do this, and your boss comes and tells you we're going to work on XYZ. Like, now you have to control all of that. And there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. And you have to be the driver in the front seat. And that takes a lot of initiative, courage, and I would say a lot of determination.
Right.
So I would not say that's a challenge. I would say that's a prerequisite. You have to take it as a given.
Right.
And you have to keep in mind that not all days are good. Not everyone's going to believe in you. I can't tell you how many people have told me to stop doing what I'm doing because they said there are already so many people doing what you're doing. What is the value add? But you have to learn to turn a deaf ear to them. And basically, it's a lot of just patience and persistence at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can call it as a double-edged sword. I mean, the trades that sometimes feel to be the best parts can also sometimes be a challenge. So it's a constant...
like a coin has both sides. It's like that.
Absolutely. Very true. I mean, how has, because you are also a CA and now an entrepreneur, I think this question has to be asked. How has being a CA helped you in your journey so far, in your entrepreneurial journey so far?
Oh, it's helped so much. Not only, first of all, it adds a lot of credibility, at least in the line of business that I'm in. People don't want to give money to just anyone. So we sort of tell people that, hey, both of us are chartered accountants, we are educated, we've had work, this has been our journey. So that chartered accountancy title helps a lot in terms of credibility. Number two, being a CA, we had a lot more comfort over the business side of a startup because you were able to understand the tax aspect of it, the cost aspect of it, the legal aspect of it. A lot of things sort of like we figured out because we've studied this as part of the curriculum. Like, I mean, all that learning has to come to use, right? Like, be it accounting, be it anything. We were just numbers people. So like, that has immensely helped. And I think the most important part has been the CA community. They have been so helpful in coming forward, volunteering with us, just to help. Like, I have really received at least, and mostly CAs come and they're just like, how can we help your organization? We really like what you do. So they've been very, very helpful, not in just terms of like quality help, but also quantity. They've also helped us get donors, etc. So that has been, the alumni society has been really helpful. Apart from that, any help we need, any business help, we know so many CAs, they're just like a call away. So there are a lot of benefits that come with being a CA. Plus, the whole comfort of understanding what I'm doing. It's not like I'm not pulling these numbers out of thin air. I'm able to analyze, like I have that bend of mind. So I would say that all of it is all because of CA. Like the confidence I have, the courage, everything. I'm just like, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm a chartered accountant. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think CA teaches you a lot of life lessons, is what I have also learned over the journey. And I
Yeah,
think that can definitely,
persistence, perseverance, all of that.
yeah. And I think even on social media, I see a lot of entrepreneurs and the general complain about how they are not able to figure out tax, legal. And I think if you are, or if the
Yeah.
founders are already, have that advantage, I think nothing like it also. So I think, yeah, definitely it must have helped a great deal. Yeah. So I think we have covered a great deal about your professional journey. Now let's talk apart from your professional journey. As I had mentioned, you have a very keen interest in fitness. You're also in the process of getting a certification from ACSM, that is the American
Yeah.
College of Sports Medicine. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I just want to understand what impact does fitness have in your life, in someone's working life, and especially now, considering the whole lockdown and work from home scenario.
So fitness again, like volunteer work, fitness has been a very, very integral part of my journey since I was very little. So both Trishla and I, we've grown up together. We went to the same boarding school. So there was a lot of emphasis on sports since we were very young. So that sort of stuck with me. And I've always worked out and felt very, very enthusiastic about it. And I'm a very keen learner. So whatever gym I would go to, I would ask the trainer, why am I doing this? What is the benefit of this? Why am I not doing 25? Why am I doing only 15 sets? I just had a lot of questions all the time. And a lot of different trainers had different answers. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go back to school, study it for myself, and be my own trainer. Because I'm someone who's going to stick with myself for life. So
Right.
that sort of compelled me to go back, get a certification, because anyway, I was reading so much about fitness all the time. I was like, might as well get a degree out of all this knowledge. So that's sort of how I wanted to do the course. And obviously, because I'm really passionate about the space, like it was not just something that I thought overnight. So, and I was very happy to do that course. And, like I said, it plays a lot of importance in everyone's life. It's not just about, reaching a certain weight or, looking a certain way. For me, it's just about being a fit person by the end of the day. Just not having a fit body keeps diseases away. Like, health comes first for me. Like I said, health is wealth. So, especially in the lockdown, I have really not really, we've got like a electrical machine at home, we've got equipment at home. Like I cannot go without working out, basically. It's like an obsession. So, and I think it really helps me keep very focused, because it's something that I love doing. It's like my me time. So it's just something that I have to do to keep sane at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, that's absolutely wonderful. And I think irrespective of what you do, this is something that you have to, keep in mind and definitely do. Everyone, irrespective of whatever you're doing. For sure.
Exactly.
So, Divya, you have also been a mentor with a Lighthouse Project India. So, I mean, why don't you just talk to me about that experience, and also what role do you think a mentor plays in a person's life, especially a person in their formative ages, like a teenager or early 20s,
Right.
something like that.
Right. So I was very excited about the kind of problem that Lighthouse was trying to fulfill, and is something Vision C also does for different people, age, and categorization of people. But Lighthouse, basically they pair working mentor, someone who's a young mentor with a mentee in school, or in their 11th or 12th, like junior college in Bombay, and you sort of help them with outside the classroom learning. And it was just about helping your mentee. You basically get matched with someone who has similar interests as you. So I had a CS aspirant, her father was an accountant, so they sort of thought I was the right fit for her. So it was just about enhancing her communication skills, her thought process, someone that she can, get her questions answered from, and just sort of go about life, make the right decisions for herself in her life. So it's just sort of like a mentor in that sense, that you look up to someone, they've been through something that you're doing, and they have the answers for you. So that was the idea behind Lighthouse. And I think it's extremely important to have a mentor. I have said this before in this podcast, like, as be it whatever stage you are in life, it's very important to have a mentor, to have someone to guide you in the right direction. So in school, you have your seniors, for example, in college, you have your seniors, but, at work, what then? So and we are very fortunate to have people like that around us, but not everyone is that privileged. So it's very, very important to find the right mentors for yourself at every stage of life. And I wanted to play that part for someone, So that was a very, very rewarding and very memorable experience. And, just spending time with her, it was really amazing how she thinks and how, I could impact her life in a very small way. So that was just something that, stuck with me for long.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very, very crucial. And also, from a mentee's perspective, somebody showing you a particular direction, even that 1 degree shift can make a lot of difference. And even as a mentor, I feel, when someone actually takes your advice and does something meaningful.
It's not just a give and take relationship. It's like both of you have a lot to learn from each other. And that is what makes it a very fulfilling experience. And that's why I love what Vision CA is also doing on very similar lines. So I can completely understand the feeling.
Right. Thanks a lot. That is the object behind starting Vision CA as well. Yeah. And so I think as part of Vision CA, as you mentioned, we cater to CA students, particularly. Majorly, we cater to CA students. What advice would you give to a CA aspirant who is on a journey to become a CA, and you being a social entrepreneur, what advice do you give to someone who actually has a thought, or who actually is considering venturing into the entrepreneurial space in future?
Yeah. So to CA aspirants, I would say that, step number 1 is clearing your exams. And don't study for the exams, just for doing the exams and getting over, because the knowledge is what makes you a good CA. It's not about number of attempts, unlike what you might think at this point, okay, if you become a CA, you'll earn a lot of money. It's not like that. It's completely dependent on how much you know, what your knowledge level is, what your skill level is, how much you've learned in Articleship. So everything matters. It's not just if they have a rank, they're going to do very well in life. No. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, you have to really focus, do exams well, but also understand that it's not the end of, how you're told in school, 10th kar lo, life ban jayegi. That's not true with CA final. It's just the beginning of your professional journey. And when it comes to, pursuing different careers after you qualify, I think entrepreneurship is really coming up in India as of now. And I see a lot more people taking it up, versus when I was younger. It was more about either joining your parents' business or it was about, getting a job. But he had he has his own practice, but there was a point when he started, right? So I sort of I'm following his footsteps in a way, but I would say that if you're considering becoming an entrepreneur, I mean, it's a really, really exciting journey, and you're going to love being an entrepreneur. And I think there are two different kinds of people, people who can do a job and people who, just want to do their own thing. And that's just something you will figure out for yourself. And I would love to help, talk to budding entrepreneurs and, people who want more advice on this, unconventional sort of a career option. So very happy to, help anyone in any aspect of whatever I've spoken about. So it's like, there are no limits nowadays. Like there's no ye kar liya to ye kar lete hain. This is just like whatever you want to do, you're free to do it. So don't feel like, you're doing this just for an exam. You don't know where this knowledge is going to come handy. So yeah, keep at it, study well, stay focused. You're going to crack it.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm in agreement with everything that you've said as far as the CA journey is concerned. And I mean, definitely, I think a lot of CAs are actually venturing out into entrepreneurship, even remotely considering. And I think when we have people like you who are actually out there explaining the journey, I think we'll have more and more entrepreneurs in the coming future.
I wish I can inspire people to do this. Yeah, I mean, it really helps to see someone who's taken that first step. So yeah, I really hope that someone who wants to take the plunge, I can kind of get them to cross over to the other side. Definitely. Yeah, I would love to guide them also in any way.
Absolutely. Wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. Yeah, and I think as closing thoughts, I think previously in one of the questions you had mentioned about the third round of fundraising. So please let us know about the current round of fundraising that your venture ShareALittle is having and how our listeners can contribute to it.
Yes. Okay. So for our fourth fundraiser, we have collaborated with a Bombay-based NGO. It's called Catalyst for Social Action, CSA in short. And what they do is they work with children and children in institutional care. They want to give them a family or family-like care. So that is the children who come from very vulnerable backgrounds, who either don't have anyone to go to, they're either orphans, or they have been abandoned by their parents who didn't have the financial means to bring them up. So they just leave those children. So institution homes take these children in and take care of them. But unfortunately, government care homes are not the best place to be, for those children, even though they do have shelter. So what Catalyst for Social Action does is they work with institutional care homes. They guide them as to how to bring those children up in terms of what health, what nutrition to give them. They basically keep a check on their health with BMI and those kind of metrics. Then their education, they take care of their hygiene and that they have basic clothes to wear, books to read, and then they take care of what they're going to consume on an everyday basis. They basically put these institutional care homes in touch with nutritionists who will work with these children. So there's a lot of they help them overcome whatever bottlenecks that these institutional care homes have, so that they can bring those children up in the right environment, so that they can study and become independent. What happens after they turn 18 under law is that they have to move out of those institutional care homes. But unlike you and me, where do these children go? So the NGO works with these children from the age of 14, and they figure out what these children want to do with their lives and their careers. Like your parents, sit with us and have that chat. Beta karna kya chahte hai? So because they have to become financially independent as soon as possible. A better option, a lot of them are genuinely interested in becoming engineers and doing all those courses, but other people who probably don't have that, intellectual caliber or inclination, they do bedside, like nurses, bedside attendants, or they go on to become accountants, at companies, or just like interior decorators, or for that matter, plumbers, electricians. Like basically you get trained and then you directly get a job after that. So this organization has tie-ups for everything. They have tie-ups for accommodation for these children. They have tie-ups with institutes for their education. But all of this involves a very hefty fee, as you can imagine.
Definitely.
And basically what we're trying to do is raise funds enough for 12 children to help them with their vocational skill courses. And that, like I said, it not only helps them with the confidence level, because if you're learning, you're also learning, it's a life skill. It's not just like how to be a better air hostess. So it improves their self-confidence. It also increases their bargaining power, because, they can easily be taken advantage of. And plus, it gives them an income in their own hand so that they can sustain themselves, which is so important. Imagine just being left to fend for yourself in a world like that without any support. So what the NGO is doing is incredible, and what we want to do is play a very little part. There are 500 children who actually turn 18 and move out in mainstream society every year. We're only helping 12 children. It's a very, very small number, but we want to do complete justice to the fundraiser and to the responsibility that we've sort of taken up. So my appeal to every listener or anyone whose family member would be interested in donating, just head to ShareALittle. We'll share the links with you. Just donate to the best of your ability. There is no, nothing like you have to give X and X number to kind of make a difference. And we'll come back to you and we'll tell you the impact that you've made. And you put so and so person in this institute, and this is how they've grown in, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. We'll give you all the reports, all the numbers you will get. So I would just really encourage you to share a little and share the message forward and, empower beneficiaries to be on their own. That's my message.
Definitely. I mean, that's actually a very wonderful initiative by the NGO to, make people more and more self-sufficient, not
exactly
build confidence in them. And I mean, I wish you all the best, your team all the best. And I think
thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you will be successful in doing that.
Thank you so much for everything, for your kind words, for your wishes. I'm really happy and a little overwhelmed by
Definitely.
the encouragement.
No worries at all. I mean, I think we've reached the end of the questions, and I didn't realize actually that we have reached. It's been an absolute fun chat. And I've had a lot of fun. I had a lot of learning also from you over the course of this podcast. And I think I would like to thank you for your time and for agreeing to come on this podcast, and also wish you all the very best with your venture. And may you just grow and reach, create more and more impact and win more awards like the one you just won.
Thank you so much. I love what you guys do with Vision, see what you guys are doing. And I would love to play a small role in it. And I'm just here for anyone who needs any kind of advice, like nobody should feel alone. So if I can help in any way, I would love to do that. And thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much. So we would put Divya's LinkedIn ID, ShareALittle website, and even the latest round of fundraisers. All of these links you can access them in the description box below. In case anyone wishes to reach out to Divya on LinkedIn, I think you can definitely. I think people can definitely reach out to you.
Very active on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a great chat, and I hope all of the viewers they would definitely learn a thing or two, and also would contribute to the fundraiser as well. And if you enjoyed this episode, please do hit the like button, share it with your friends, and also subscribe to Vision CA channel for more such content. We come up with these career talks every Sunday. And yeah, that's it from my side and from Divya's side as well. And we'll see you all next Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.